Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. I call the City Council Committee of the Whole meeting to order for Wednesday, July 5th. This time we'll have a moment of silence to have you think about whatever it is you want to think about. Thank you. If you please stand and join Alderman Ortiz in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Ortiz. Brian, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Dunn.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Cornett.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Jobson.
Here.
And Ortez.
Here.
10 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. So good evening, everyone. Again, we begin the meeting of the City Council Committee of the Whole. I'd like to welcome everybody in attendance and anybody who's watching through any particular electronic device. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, but please keep in mind that as you talk to the council, you're sharing your thoughts with all your fellow Davenporters, anybody throughout the region. We're happy you're participating in your city government, but please ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport a better place. Again, as a reminder for your cell phone, if you put it on silent or turn it off, simply that it doesn't get in the way of anybody speaking. If you want to address the council on any particular item, please come to the podium. The microphone's above you. We'd love to know your name, ward, or address, and if you're not from here, where you're from. Please address the council as one body and not as any individual. Please don't use defamatory comments or name calling. I'll talk about that more in a little bit later in the council meeting. You'll be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that everybody please observe the accepted rules of decorum, dignity, and good taste. We'll be respectful of you. Please be respectful of us. Thank you. City Administrator, Ms. Spiegel, anything for tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Very good. We have 2 public hearings, both under community development. Alderman Grip and Alderwoman Lee will lead those. Alderman Grip, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I open a public hearing on the proposed conveyance of city-owned property located at 626 Taylor Street to the 180 Zone, Inc. Is there anyone here from the public here to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This public hearing has been closed. I open the public hearing on the proposed conveyance of city-owned property located in the 300 block of West 16th Street to Davis Priority Properties, LLC. Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward.
Hello, I'm Trevor Fuse. I live in Ward 2, but I own a store and work in Ward 4, the Brood Book. I'd like to say that my business is currently making use of the 3 public parking spots that make up lot G001110B, but I cannot. They are currently signs on lot 10A, the adjacent lot owned by Davis Priority Properties LLC, that claim those spaces as private property and that violators will be towed. I had been telling my customers that this was just a bluff and that they can park there if they need to. I went so far as to show multiple customers on the Scott County parcel search website that they are still owned by the city and that obviously they can park there. After having my car towed on June 30th, I don't tell my customers that anymore. Davis Priority Properties LLC is claiming vehicle trespass and towing anyone who parks there. I assume this sort of squatting is illegal. If you just want to defest the city of the property, I request that you contact all of the stakeholders in the neighborhood. $500 for a property assessed at $3,600 is steal. I would happily pay that personally, and in a fair bidding process, I wouldn't be worried about being outbid by a residential property that already has plenty of parking. I'd be worried about the other retail establishments in the area that need more parking. So in conclusion, please do not sell a property. Please do not sell it for that little. And please do not sell it to Davis Priority Properties LLC. I don't believe they've acted in good faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to comment? Please step to the lectern and state your name and address or ward, please.
How you doing, Council? My name is Marquez Davis, resident here in Davenport, Iowa. I do own the property at 319 West 16th Street. Purchased back June 2021. When I purchased the property originally, was told that the adjacent parking slab right to the left of the property was included in the sale. After speaking with the city, I was notified that that is not true. Before I had spoke with Mr. Berger from the city of Davenport, I did put down no trespassing signs so that I'd be able to allow my tenants to be able to park there. I originally had a Section 8 tenant with a disabled daughter who originally the easiest path from being able to park their vehicle to the back door to their ramp is directly adjacent, like I said, to the property. The current property directly to the left as well is pretty much the same setup, same house, same lot with the same parking space there. So, like I said, when I purchased the property, I was under the impression that that parking slab was mine. So I did, in fact, enact putting down those signs. Like I said before, I spoke with the city of Davenport. After I did put those signs down, I did enact a relationship with a towing company here locally, just to be able to patrol if there was anybody parking there that wasn't one of my tenants, they would pick the vehicle up. I had that in place before I had spoke with the city of Davenport. They did come by just June 30th, and they did pick up the gentleman that just spoke. They picked up his vehicle. Once he did notify me that did happen, I did do everything in my power to be able to get the vehicle back, which included paying the $500 fee to be able to return his vehicle to him, and did apologize for that. And like I said, I did already have that in place before I was notified that in fact parking slab was purchased by the city. I did put in an offer for it. When I spoke with the city of Davenport, they didn't say necessarily what a fair offer would look like, looking at the assessment and the property value, and considering the location of that property, of that parcel. It needs to be returned to that home. I guess previously, rest in peace, Clyde Mayfield, who I originally purchased the property for after he passed away, who was involved obviously with the city of Davenport and the school board. I believe he had an agreement with, I believe, that business corridor to where he allowed them to be able to basically have public access for the businesses that were on that lot. So I guess that's how that parcel transferred out of being all in one with the home, and then went to the city of Davenport, is my understanding. So I followed the proper procedures and channels that were requested, which was to put in an offer for it. I did send over a purchase agreement. I believe that you guys will be voting on it today. I would love to be able to continue to keep it because, like I said, I do offer Section 8 and VA vouchers for my residential tenants, and a lot of them are disabled. So being able to have a parking slab that you would assume is yours when you walk out that back door and you've got a paved walkway, maybe 10 feet that leads directly to it, that's just unbelievable access for handicap and being able to have that. So that's why I would like to be able to keep it with the property if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to comment on this public hearing? All right, seeing no one, just for informational purposes, this is a public hearing, so we will not discuss the topic now, but here in a few minutes, it's going to come before us on the agenda, and at that point, the city council will be able to have discussion. Seeing nobody else, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? This public hearing has been closed. Back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Next, we have one proclamation for Park and Rec Month. I'll read. Proclamation, whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout our country, with services establishing, maintaining, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being, and whereas parks and recreation programming and educational activities such as youth sports and environmental education are significant to childhood development, and whereas parks and recreation increase economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, and crime reduction, And whereas Parks and Recreation provide essential and adaptable infrastructure, making communities resilient in natural disasters and climate change, while natural recreation areas ensure ecological beauty and provide a place for people to connect with nature. And whereas Parks and Recreation Services build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide the therapeutic recreation services for individuals with mental or physical disabilities, and also improve the mental and emotional health for all residents. And whereas the Davenport City Council values the essential services Parks and Recreation professionals perform to provide recreational and developmental enrichment for our community, while ensuring that our parks and recreational spaces are clean, safe, inclusive, and welcoming. And now, therefore, we, Mike Mattson, Mayor, and the Davenport City Council do hereby proclaim July 23rd as Parks and Recreation Month and encourage all within our community to celebrate Parks and Recreation Professionals Day on July 21st, 2023. I'll accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion and second to approve. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Very good. And I'll meet Mr. Dyson, Park and Recreation Director, at the podium.
Sure. Mayor and Council, Chad Dyson, Parks and Recreation Director. Just want to take the opportunity to thank you guys for your continued support and advocacy for Parks and Recreation in the community. We look forward to continuing to offer a wide variety of programs and services throughout the community and hope all our residents enjoy our parks this summer and in the future. Thank you.
Okay, next area is petition communications. I just have one to just help clarify a little bit. It's been brought, up here a little bit of attention about a particular a forensic engineer or architect, Mr. Nashman. So he's a forensic architect and engineer with diverse multidisciplinary experience. Throughout his career, he's been involved in many facets of building structure stabilization, failure investigation and repair services, in addition to his personal, financial, and office management responsibilities associated with engineering, construction, and consulting services. Throughout his over 27-year career, he has directed teams on many significant response and investigation assignments, including the 2019 New Orleans Hard Rock Hotel collapse, 2018 FIU Bridge collapse, and serving as principal investigator of the 2011 Indiana State Fair collapse incident, and co-manager of the 208 million Smithfield fire investigation in 2009, responded to large commercial building failures following Hurricane Katrina, Ike, Harvey, Irma, Maria, Cat 90 study for Sandy, the Christchurch, New Zealand earthquakes, Joplin tornado, and many other large loss events. In addition, has provided investigation and remedial design services for iconic structures such as the Chrysler Building, Empire State Building in New York City, and the Wrigley Building in Chicago. His proficiency in disaster response, post-incident investigation, disaster mitigation builds upon his experience working as a first responder in New York and Illinois, where he has served as a firefighter, lieutenant, instructor since 1999, currently serves as structure specialist with DHS and FEMA Urban Search and Rescue, Indiana Task Force 1, the FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Incident Management Team in Illinois Task Force 1. In June and July 2021, served as the lead incident structure specialist responsible for coordinating of engineering, building monitoring, and structural hazard mitigation during urban search and rescue operations at the Chaplin Towers South Building collapse in Surfside, Florida. He earned his master's degree in both architectural and civil engineering from the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, holds a license and certification in numerous states, and authored many presentations, papers, and articles. He regularly provides instruction to engineering, design, fire service, and military communities on topics of emergency response, damage assessment, building collapse, rescue operations, and his experts testified in many numerous manners and was recommended by Miami-Dade County for this specific assignment. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. Anyone else? Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to speak on the decision made by city officials transmitted through city spokesperson, Chief Strategy Officer Sarah Ott, that the city will no longer record the public comment portion of our meetings. Over the past 2 weeks, the city recorded but stopped live streaming the public comment portion of our public meetings with a notice of network error appearing on the screen. The city publicly states that there is no place for libelous or defamatory statements in civil discourse, and the city does not condone them. By publishing such comments on city platforms, the city can be exposed to legal liability. Therefore, we will no longer record the public comment portions of our meetings. I reviewed a detailed legal analysis of defamation related to public officials, including elected officials, published by the Legal Information Institute of the Cornell Law School. Analysis of Supreme Court cases shows that freedom, quote, freedom of expression upon public questions is secured by the First Amendment of the Constitution and has long been settled by the Supreme Court, with a profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and city officials, public officials. Public officials are subject to public scrutiny, and, quote, criticism of their official conduct does not lose its constitutional protection merely because it is effective criticism and hence diminishes the official reputation. Expression on matters of public interest is protected by the First Amendment. It's a protected area of free discussion. Criticism of those responsible for government operations must be free, lest criticism itself be penalized. Commentary about matters of public interest is to be protected to the degree that the person defamed is a public official or a candidate for public office. The First Amendment interest is that true speech on matters of public concern not be inhibited, end of quote. So, although Iowa law does not require a government board to live stream or record its meetings, failing to live stream and record only a selected portion of a public meeting that is on the agenda of the meeting and occurs between the opening gavel and the closing gavel inhibits free speech protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The opportunity for public comment during the public portion of our agenda has already been shortened by 40% per speaker from our long-term practice of 5 minutes. Then, public comment was partially, then completely dropped from live streaming with no notice by the city. Now the city is hiding behind an inappropriate claim of city liability that is inconsistent with protected constitutional First Amendment rights of free speech. An already traumatized public is re-victimized over and over, and this calculating decision further contributes to the appearance and possible reality of lack of transparency, accountability, and caring. The city spokesperson states in the paper, the City of Davenport values input from our residents, and we encourage the public to attend city council meetings to ensure that their voices are heard. Not everyone can attend city meetings in person, and providing coverage of the entire meeting, both during and after the meeting, is a needed and responsible public service. It also shows that we truly value input, not just considering comments to be venting. I'm not a lawyer, but based on the First Amendment free speech rights to criticize government and government officials, I truly believe that hiding behind a statement of legal liability by including public comment on city platforms as stated by the city is a grievous misunderstanding of our First Amendment rights. As Randy Evans, Executive Director of the Iowa Freedom of Information Council, states in the Quad City Times, frankly, I think being able to receive public criticism is in the job description for public officials and top-level city administrators. It sure seems like city officials want to restrict to the fewest number of people possible those who hear any criticism of the City of Davenport's handling of events leading up to and after the collapse of the Davenport. While that may be legal, it's certainly not in keeping with the spirit of open meeting laws. As city officials, I believe we need to put on our big girl and boy pants and truly listen to public comments and do our civic duty to provide our meetings in their entirety for the widest number of people possible so that we can better understand and represent our concerned citizens and make informed decisions for their benefit. If the city implements this policy, then shame on us. If City Council remains silent on this issue, then again, shame on us. We need to protect constitutional free speech and face and act on our issues and our active, informed citizenry practicing their constitutional rights. Ms. Ott said in the paper that the timeline for implementation of these changes was still to be determined. The right and constitutional answer is never again. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Okay. Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just had something very brief I wanted to talk about. There's been discussion at the last couple of meetings about the funding for victims of the collapse, and a little bit of confusion about the availability of the dollars. So I wanted to clear that up tonight. I've had several conversations, but it continues to seem to be confused. So the dollars that the city had set aside for victims of the hotel collapse was $6,000. There are no income restrictions on that funding. No income restrictions. It's been said there's income restrictions, the $6,000. There's not. The city has worked very diligently to make it very easy to access those dollars, and that is still going forward. So no income restrictions. I think where the confusion came is the emergency declaration by the governor. There were also dollars available to people who were victims of the collapse. There are income restrictions there, and that is not something the city has any control over at all. That is the state dollars. So the city dollars remain as they were, and that was the $6,000 for victims of the Davenport, and then $1,000 for people displaced who were in other buildings. That, again, no income guidelines there. The state money, which we have no control over, and actually we are not distributing, that's being distributed through Community Action of Eastern Iowa. There are incomes restrictions there, and that is, again, placed by the state and part of that pool of dollars probably for any kind of disaster where they would be offered. So if you know of anyone who you feel like is eligible for any of these dollars, and if they have not reached out, please encourage them to do so. The state dollars through Community Action of Eastern Iowa, the city dollars through our Community and Economic Development Department. So thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Let's see, Alderman Ortiz.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was fortunate enough to be able to go down Monday to the Red, White, and Boom and River Bandits game. It was a hot and muggy night, and I just want to thank the Davenport police men and women for their hard work to be able to stand out there from the beginning of the game to the end. There was no traffic issues, no real problems, and to get 7,000 people in and out in the manner which they did is, well, my hat's off to them. So it was a good time, good game, and I hope next year even more people will get a chance to go down and watch it. Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Ortiz. Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to make an announcement that the City of Davenport is currently accepting applications to buy an urban homestead property. For several decades, the city's urban homestead initiative has turned vacant or abandoned houses into single-family homes for new home buyers. I like to say that this program helps us to reclaim our heritage neighborhoods one house at a time. The latest property that is nearing completion is located at 1413 West 13th Street. I had an opportunity earlier this spring to walk through it. It is fully rehabbed with all new modern finishes, and it's going to make a great home for somebody. If you think you might be that somebody, you can go to the city's website and search Urban Homestead and get more details. You can also call the Community and Economic Development Department at 563-326-7765 and ask for an application or ask any questions that you might have. And then there is a great opportunity this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, July 8th and 9th, from 11 to 12:30 to be able to go through that house and see it for yourself. Again, that address is 1413 West 13th Street, and applications will be accepted through Friday, July 14th. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Alderman Dunn.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let's be clear. There's a difference between criticism and personal attacks, and we've seen both. here at this chamber. I'm not going to allow any personal attacks on any of our staff. Let's be clear. I'm an elected official. If you want to take personal attacks at me and you want to criticize me, that's great. That's what I signed up for. But these folks that work for the city of Davenport, they didn't sign up to be criticized and have people make false statements about them. There's been a lot of false statements out there, and I, for one, am not going to tolerate it. So if you do make a false statement or defamatory remark, I will call you out personally. Thank you. But I want to ask, since our resident lawyer here made a bunch of claims, I would ask our lawyer, our city attorney, what his take on this is.
Are you referring to the person who didn't attend law school or has a license? No
That's correct.
license? Thank you. It was a nice speech. It's a nice
Ladies and
speech.
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen,
It's a nice speech.
Please,
It
thank
doesn't
you.
match up with the law in Iowa or the United States. And I'm sure she's unaware of the fact that the city has actually been successfully sued because of remarks that were made in a Davenport City Council meeting.
Thank you. That's all I got, Your Honor.
thank you, Alderman Dunn. Alderman Conda.
Thank you. I'm going to add my voice to Alderman Ortiz's comments about Red, White, and Boom, and just say that it was really great to see so many happy people down on our Mississippi riverfront. It's always been a big tradition for my family, but as we continue to program the space, it's really fun to see that come to life, and it's the type of thing that encourages people to maybe come a little earlier next year and invite another friend or family. So I want to thank the Levy Improvement Commission and the staff who helps facilitate everything at the Levy Improvement Commission, Courtney Jones and Stephanie Bly, who honestly I haven't had like a great introduction to yet, but I felt like she set the bar really high today, and or on Red, White, and Boom. I've been volunteering to people that it didn't really feel like summer yet, but it was really good to be back home downtown and see so many great people down there. And the police chief, thanks for getting everybody out so quickly and safely. It was healing for me to be back down there, and it kind of just at this moment punctuates that we need to heal. We need to bring people together. Throwing salt on a wound and pulling people apart is really the easy part, but the hard part is bringing people together. The real toil is done when the cameras aren't on. Talent in doing this job is being unselfish, level-headed, and making progress where you can in the middle. That's what we do when we're at our best, and I'm looking forward to, there's no expiration on all the tough things that we need to reflect on after the tragedy we faced this summer, but I'm really looking forward to doing that in a constructive way as a community. Thanks for letting me add that sentiment on the tail end then. But it was a wonderful Independence Day, and thank you for everything the staff did to help make that happen.
Thank you, Alderman Condon. Alderman Kelly.
So I've been quiet for quite some time, and it's really hard for me to be quiet because when I see my community, the Black and Brown community, be subjected to some of the things that happened at 324 Main, it's really tough. But what I don't understand is this is something that's so simple. My mom taught me this when I was a child. To get respect, you give respect. So it's interesting to me. I'm not on anybody's side. I don't talk to the non-lawyer, to the lawyer, but it's just interesting to me that the levels of disrespect that we want up here, we don't give out there. So you guys, if anybody knows me, my favorite words are words I can't say in public, but I'm almost to the point where some of these words are about to be displayed because this is like a show. This is a show, and it's like I'm not understanding why we're putting on a show, because let me tell you, man, I'm the best circus clown y'all ever see. So I just hope and pray that we all can have some decorum, because it's interesting to me that we want it, but we're not giving it. I don't care what nobody up here says. I don't see it on either side. I don't. because there's a way to do and say everything, and we're just not doing it. And it's a shame that we have to have police officers and all these things in a meeting to just have discussions, and everything just goes to the left, to the far left. But I'm gonna pray that we can make it through this evening.
Thank you, Alderman Condon. Anyone else? Ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so I was going to read this before public comment, but since it was opened now, I'll read this. So transparency is important to the city of Davenport. However, there's nothing transparent about personal attacks that are defamatory or comments in general that have almost zero or have no basis in fact. There is a big difference between criticism and defamatory comments or personal attacks. Happy to take criticism, have take criticism, continue to take criticism, happy to have it, not defamatory. City has a legal responsibility not to publish defamatory statements, legal responsibility. That's why Corporation Counsel is reviewing to see that we don't have defamatory comments being published. Tonight we'll be observing a new rule. If a speaker makes remarks that are defamatory in nature, and I can have a legal decide, but we pretty much know what they are. They're personal attacks. I'll stop your comments and ask the council to motion to adjourn, and then the person speaking will be causing the next folks not to be able to speak. So all I'm asking is no personal attacks, and please make your point, or I'll ask a motion to adjourn. We are not going to have defamatory comments or personal attacks, and we are not going to publish them. Thank you. Next issue is action items for discussion. The first one is community development. Alderman Grip and Alderman Lee will set the agenda. Alderman Grip, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 4 items on our discussion agenda this evening. We'll begin with item number 1, which is a resolution authorizing the conveyance of city-owned property located at 626 Taylor Street to the 180 Zone, Inc. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? All right. Anyone from the council? Alderwoman McGinnis?
Thank you, Alderman Grip. I just want to say I'm very pleased to see this happen. I know this was I'm looking at Mr. Berger, this was a sort of a touch and go. This property was very derelict. It had been, it lost, I think, to taxes. The city took possession of it and had initially was working with 180, and then there were some changes. So this has happened over time, but now it's happening. It will be rehabbed by 180. It will be a great property in the neighborhood, helping to stabilize the neighborhood there west of Marquette. So I'm really, thank you staff for working through this and being patient with this, and I'm glad to see this going forward. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no one else, this item will move on. Item number 2 is a resolution authorizing the conveyance of city-owned property located in the 300 block of West 16th Street to Davis Priority Properties, LLC. Is there anyone from the public who's here to comment on this item? All right, we will go to council discussion. Alderwoman Dickman.
Thank you, Your Honor. We saw that we had the owner of the Brood Book come up earlier, and I believe the other gentleman that was involved in a situation. And you know, it's always terrible when we have local residents who both want what's best for the area, but sometimes those things are miscommunicated or something happened. Could staff come up and explain kind of how we got to here? And I don't want to put things out of order, but possibly reach out to the parties involved to try to find a resolution. I know this is a resolution, so this is one cycle, correct?
Right.
So I don't know if we would need to table that. So I guess I'll let you speak and then I'll ask if we need to table it to further resolve it.
Bruce Berger, Community and Economic Development. So, yeah, this is a property that, and you can read in your background some of the history, some 25 years plus or minus ago, to open up the alley. So there was a house on this particular small lot that was peeled off to open up the alley a bit, light it up, widen it so that truck traffic could come in, and it created a couple of parking spaces. That wasn't really the primary need, but at the time there was a desire for more parking. I think over time, folks have seen there's a lot of parking along 16th Street. And so the situation that kind of presented itself with the new owner and the need to have parking adjacent to the residential was what sort of prompted it. Did speak with the Hilltop Business Association membership and the Hilltop Campus Village director, just a kind of a prize to see if perhaps one of those entities would like to take control of the property. There didn't seem to be an interest. And so after talking with a couple of the other business owners, move forward with this thought. I think we've seen in some other circumstances where if you do have two competing interests, we can open it up to a closed bid type situation. We have done some other things perhaps. So yeah, up to you. I don't know of any true urgency other than the residential property owner having tenants either about to move in or moved in. So yeah.
Of the other property. Sir, are you still here? Do you mind coming up and answering a couple questions? Sorry, the owner of the 319. Sorry to call you up in front of everybody. If we table this for a week or two, will that substantially derail any plans of yours?
I'm headed on vacation.
Okay.
Around the 15th.
Okay.
So I mean, just depending on if I needed to actually reappear in person or what that looked like, that may just be
Okay.
gone just for a week.
Yeah. Let's, because this is our off week. Will this to table this for a week? Or I guess since it's not if we just leave this on discussion. Okay. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and leave this on discussion, and then hopefully yourself and the other gentleman, it sounds like you both are good, honest community members, that there was a very unfortunate situation. So, hopefully we can get all in the same room and figure out something that works for everybody, if you're okay with that. And the other gentleman is hopefully okay with that. So I will just ask that Alderman Grip leave this on discussion. You can sit down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderwoman Dickman. Alderwoman McGinnis?
Thank you. Mr. Davis, I'm sorry, could you come back up? I apologize. I'm sorry. Get your exercise.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, sir, so there was you had put a no trespassing and that someone was towed, but you made good on that tow, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anybody else been towed since then? Or?
Not to my knowledge,
Okay,
and I
okay.
did terminate that agreement
Okay.
with the towing company,
All right.
Just until this whole thing was settled. But yeah, I mean, right away, he gave me a call, let me know. I set everything up within a couple hours and was able to meet him down there, got it taken care of. And like I said, apologize. It wasn't anything. It was just one of the things that had been set in place back in, February and hadn't had any issues with having too many people parked there. But as it's gotten warmer, you're starting to see a little bit more traffic, and so.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see anybody else. I do have a question for Mr. Fuse.
Yes.
Okay, so as we keep this on discussion and reach out to have some discussions with you, I just want to be clear, you would be interested in this lot?
Yes, I'd prefer it not be sold and stay as public parking and owned by the city. But failing that, yes, I would definitely be interested in buying it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so just wanted to give my comments on this. We've run into this before. So our options are, to keep the property as public property and continue to maintain it. I think our staff has said there's really no reason for us to own this property and maintain it long term. We could sell it to Mr. Davis, as has been presented in this resolution, or what we've done in the past. We did this recently, maybe last year or the year before. It was determined that there were two people who had a reasonable claim to the property, right? And I think we need to make sure that we've determined that they both have a reasonable claim to the property. I think we've already done that with Mr. Davis. That's why it's here before us. We should do that with Mr. Fuse as well. But in the past, if we've determined that more than one party has a reasonable claim to the property, then we said we can go to a sealed bid for it. which we did successfully. But I would like to, have this discussion with the ward alderman, Alderman Kelly. But I think those are the options we've had in the past. I don't see any other options, and we probably just need to determine how we want to proceed with this one. So we will leave it on discussion. If we can come to terms before next meeting, great. If not, then at that point, we could table it as Alderwoman Dickman had said. Good? All right, thank you. So we will keep item number 2 on discussion. And we will move to item number 3, which is a resolution approving case F23-06, being the request of Birchwood South LLC for a final plat of Birchwood South 3rd Edition, a 2-lot subdivision on 3.34 acres located at 4741 East 53rd Street. Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, this item will move on. And our final item on community development is item number 4, a resolution approving case F23-07, being the request of Lauren and Lisa Rathjen for a final plat of West Wind Hills, a 4-lot subdivision on 15.428 acres located at the southwest corner of 145th Street and 110th Avenue in unincorporated Scott County, which is adjacent to the 1st Ward. Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, that item will move on, and I would ask Alderwoman Lee to please set our agenda.
Thank you very much. I move that items 1, 3, and 4 be placed on consent, and item 2 be placed on discussion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, that concludes community development, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Griffin, Alderwoman Lee. The next area is public safety. Alderman Jobson and Alderwoman Dickman will discuss. Alderman Jobson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have first item under the public safety agenda, a second consideration ordinance amending Schedule 5, 4-way stop intersections of Chapter 10.96 entitled Schedules of the Municipal Code, Davenport, Iowa, by adding Utah Avenue at Telegraph Road thereto. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that item will move on. Item number 2, first consideration ordinance amending Schedule 11, resident parking only of Chapter 10.96 entitled Schedules of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa, by adding East Lombard Street along the frontages of 2337, 2342, 2343, and 2347 East Lombard Street thereto. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that item will move on. Item number 3, resolution approving street, lane, or public ground closures on the listed dates and times for outdoor events. I'll read each of these before asking for comment. First, Max Kilkenny's Carriage House and Daiquiri Factory Bix Party, 300 block of West 3rd Street, 12 p.m. Friday, July 28, 2023, through 6 a.m. Sunday, July 30th, 2023. Closure, West 3rd Street from Ripley Street to Harrison Street. Next, visit Quad Cities, Be Gold, Ride Gold, Ragbri 50, 10 a.m. Friday, July 21, 2023, through 10 a.m. Saturday, July 22, 2023. Closure, Marquette Street south of River Drive, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. Closures, Gaines Street from Locust Street to Lombard Street between Gaines Street and Harrison Street, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday, July 29th, 2023. Closures, 1 eastbound lane on Highway 22/Rockingham Road from West City Limits to West River Drive, 1 eastbound lane West River Drive from Highway 22/Rockingham Road to Division Street, eastbound West River Drive from Division Street to Marquette Street south of River Drive. Next, the office Bix Party, 116 West 3rd Street, 11 a.m. or immediately following the Bix, Saturday, July 29, 2023, through 12:30 a.m. Sunday, July 30th, 2023. Closure, northernmost parking lane and 2 travel lanes on West 3rd Street from Main Street to 116 West 3rd Street. And last under this item, Davenport Community School District, welcome back Blue Devils, Central High School, 1120 Main Street, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., Monday, August 21, 2023. Closure, West 12th Street from Harrison Street to Main Street. Is there anyone from public wishing to comment on these items? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that'll move on. Next, item number 4, motion approving noise variance request for the list of dates and times for outdoor events. Again, I'll read each of these before asking for comment. First, Hope at the Brick House block parties, 1431 Ripley Street, 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Evening, Friday, beginning July 14th, 2023, and ending August 21, 2023. Outdoor music performances over 50 dBA. Next, German American Heritage Center, Family Free Day, 712 West 2nd Street, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., Sunday, July 23rd, 2023. Outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Next, Max Kilkenny's Carriage House and Daiquiri Factory Bix Party, 300 block of West 3rd Street, 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Friday, July 28, 2023, and 11 a.m., Saturday, July 29, 2023, through 12 a.m., Sunday, July 30th, 2023, outdoor music bands over 50 dBA. Next, The Office Bix Party, 116 West 3rd Street, 11 a.m. or immediately following the Bix, Saturday, July 29, 2023, through 12 a.m., Sunday, July 29, 2023, outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Next, German American Heritage Center, Alternating Currents, a night of comedy, 712 West 2nd Street, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, 19th, 2023, outdoor performances over 50 dBA. And last, Davenport Community School District, Welcome Back Blue Devils, Central High School, 1112 Main Street, 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday, August 21, 2023, outdoor music band over 50 dBA. Is there anyone from public wishing to comment on this items? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that'll move on. Then we have item number 5, motion approving a noise variance request for the listed dates and times. We have Wendy's Exhaust Hood Cleaning, 1545 West Locust Street, 11 p.m. Sunday, August 6, 2023, through 7 a.m. Monday, August 7th, 2023, and 11 p.m. Sunday, February 4th, 2024, through 7 a.m. Monday, February 5th, 2024. Commercial exhaust hood cleaning over 50 dBA. Is there anyone from public wishing to comment on this item? And then from council, we have Alderman Ortiz.
Thank you, Chair. I spoke to the owner before the meeting, and I'd like to make a motion to table this for one cycle to meet with him and the cleaning company to get a better scope of the work to be done and the time frame to be done, because I think 11 o'clock at night all the way till 7 a.m. in the morning is too wide of a window to be open for the residents in that area. So he was okay with it, so I hope we can table it for one cycle. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And we will table that motion for one cycle. And then last, item number 6 is a motion approving beer and liquor license applications. I will read those items under new license, new owner, temporary permit, temporary outdoor area, location transfer, etc. Starting with Bricksbry, 400 Biderbeck Drive, temporary outdoor event, July 29th, license type, special class C, beer/wine on premises. Next, Carriage House, 312 West 3rd Street, temporary extended outdoor area, July 28th through 30th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, Daiquiri Factory, 303 West 3rd Street, temporary extended outdoor area, July 29th through 30th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, Danview Inn, 410 East 2nd Street, temporary extended outdoor area, July 28th through 30th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, Hy-Vee Bettendorf Post Race, 500 East 3rd Street, temporary license with outdoor area, July 27th through 31, license type, special class C, beer/wine on premises. Next, Max Tavern, 316 West 3rd Street, temporary extended outdoor area, July 29th through 30th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, Mississippi River Distilling Company, 318 East 2nd Street, temporary outdoor area, August 18th through 19th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, The Office, 116 West 3rd Street, temporary extended outdoor area, July 29th through 30th, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, Visit Quad Cities, 315 South Marquette Street, temporary license, July 25th through 29th, license type, special class C, beer, wine on premises. Next, Happy Joe's Pizza, 1616 West Locust Street, permanent outdoor area, license type, class C liquor on premises. Next, My Butler LLC, 2200 East 11th Street, temporary license with outdoor area, July 27th through 31st. License type, special class C, beer/wine on premises. And last, California Burrito Mexican Grill, 2960 East 53rd Street, permanent outdoor area, license type, class C liquor on premises. And then we have those annual license renewals under section B, which I do not read, but are listed for review. Is there anyone from public wishing to comment on any of these items? Anyone from council? I see Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Alderman Judgen. I would like to put, I'm asking that the Dam View Inn request for an outdoor area be put on discussion. There have been recent issues at the Dam View that are very concerning. There was an incident last weekend. I want to say also that one of the owners has already reached out to try to talk about how this can be addressed. So I want to acknowledge that they on their own reached out as I was working on dealing with this. So I want to give them the credit for that, but I would like this put on discussion. I am very concerned at this point with just allowing this to be voted on as with the rest of the agenda. So if we could please put it on discussion, I would ask that.
Thank you, Alderwoman McGinnis. Alderman Condon.
I apologize, I missed my shot earlier, but a point of clarification under noise ordinances, Wendy's Exhaust Hood Cleaning, that's not a band name?
No, it's to get their hood system.
Okay. Bruce, I thought you opened for them. All right.
All right, I think we got that clarified. So therefore, seeing no one else, I would ask Alderwoman Dickman to please set the agenda.
Thank you. I want to take a quick moment to say that it's awesome to see some of our nonprofits hosting things. We've got the German American Heritage Center and Hope at the Brick House doing a block party. That sounds awesome. I move that items 1 through 4 be placed on consent. Note that item 5 has been tabled for one cycle, and that item 6 be placed on consent with the exception of the Dam View Inn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That closes public safety. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Jobson and Alderwoman Dickman. The next area is Public Works. Alderman Dunn and Alderman Kelly will discuss. Alderman Dunn, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I open the Public Works agenda up, I'd like to make a comment. I want to say up front that we've recently had many remarks made at our meetings that lack truth in a way that exposes the city to liability. I welcome your comments. However, if you begin to personally attack or make allegations that are defamatory, I will stop your remarks and end your comment time. With that being said, I'll get into the agenda. Item number 1 is a second consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 13.28 entitled Surface Drains of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa by amending subsection 13.28.030 for language cleanup and clarity. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 2 is a resolution accepting 2 grant offers of $600,000 and $112,996 for financial assistance with the South Ramp Reconstruction Project at the Davenport Municipal Airport and approving the associated grant agreements between the City of Davenport and the Federal Aviation Administration. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 3 is a resolution accepting work completed under the West 41st Street, Sturtevant Street to Marquette Street Reconstruction Project by N.J. Miller in the amount of $813,128.19. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution awarding a contract for the 228 South Hancock Avenue Rehabilitation Project to Midwest Complete Construction in the amount not to exceed $398,498.45. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 5 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of emulsion sludge thickening polymer to Pauladine in the amount not to exceed $437,400. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. And before I read item number 6, I want to take chair's privilege and ask a question of staff. Could someone walk us through how we chose this outfit that we're going to approve tonight?
Sure. Early on, we had reached out to Miami-Dade County where the Surfside collapse occurred. And we were trying to engage in a best practice, really. Talk to a community that had experienced something similar to this and made some connections with people down there and got some good advice on things. And one of those folks spoke with our fire marshal and recommended the gentleman that the mayor spoke about earlier. And Socotec is an engineering firm that he works closely with. This is, at first they were working on basically the forensic side of it. What debris, what parts of that building need to be preserved in order to, one, figure out what happened, and two, perhaps there could be some charges down the line depending on various facts and circumstances. That's a judgment call by the DCI, but that was phase one, was a forensic piece of it. And they've now moved into a phase where they're trying to put together a causes and origins report. And I'm sure everybody wants to know what happened. So hopefully in the coming month or so, we'll get a report back on the causes and origins for that partial collapse.
Thank you. I'm assuming there was more individuals that were in that discussion as well.
Yeah, actually,
Made that decision.
there was the fire marshal, I believe the fire chief, myself, the city engineer, the finance director, city administrator. We all had conversations. All of us interviewed the gentleman that the mayor spoke about. Again, we've had discussions with this engineering firm collectively, separately, all through this matter, and beginning with on-site discussions while the recovery was still going on. And we've known very well what the scope of their services are, and we are very actively managing these contracts.
Thank you. And I must apologize. I probably should have read the item first, so I'll go ahead and read it now. Item number 7 is a resolution approving an engineering services contract with Socotec Engineering of Chicago, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $150,000. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you, and I think it's item 6.
Oh, sorry, item 6.
I'm not questioning the qualifications of anybody. I have no idea of that, and I'm sure that they're excellent. My questions are more related to the contracting and the city code 2.12.140 part B for operating emergencies. And that requires that all contracts issued under this code have a full, quote, full written account with requisitions for the services and shall be open for public inspection for at least 1 year after the dates of the emergency services. I asked some questions about contracting, and I was told by the mayor that, I asked him in writing, and I was told they'd be answered. And then I was told that they would not be answered because of the protocol. But I was also told that I could come in and view the records. My question is, this information is public per the city code. And right now, to find just 2 of the contracts, you have to click through 5 clicks and then go through 10 pages on the website. And you cannot find them if you try to find them using the search engine. So I guess my question is, I would like to see the rest of the contracts as well as the scopes of work. You may know them, but it's important under Section 2.12.1.140 Part B that all of us understand the scope of the work for all the contracts that have been issued under this emergency operations. So we've got, regardless of the amount of the purchase, according to the code, it doesn't matter. It includes contracts and agreements with Socotec, White Birch Group LLC, which has already been paid an unknown retainer, Zinzer, who's doing the demolition, Shive Hattery, who did a lot of the engineering apparently, an unnamed company providing crisis communication and reputation management services, which has already been paid $18,000, and any other contract agreement entered into under the city code, whether for the collapse at
Alderwoman
324 Main or other issue.
Could you stick to the item on the agenda, please?
Well, I'm just saying I've
you
asked
please
for
stick
it,
to the item
and
on the
so I have some questions about the contract. And apparently we're not approving it. If I understand right, this is a ratification, is that correct? An after-the-fact ratification, sir? Because it's under that code?
We've switched over to causes and origins, and this is a resolution approving. They've given us an estimate of what their prospective charges are going to be, and we believe it will be under $100,000, but out of an abundance of caution, we're putting it on your agenda as not to exceed $150,000.
Okay, so this is no longer under the code 2.12.1.140? The second part?
This has to do with their estimated cost of what they're going to be doing for us.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering, was it issued under the?
It says it's a resolution approving.
Okay, you're not answering my question of whether it's under the code or not. Okay, so a lot of my questions had to do with the contracting itself. Considering that it says in the contract, client is aware that SEI has not yet provided it with a proposal for this engagement, but will do so in the coming days unless otherwise requested by the client. So I'm just interested in a little bit more about what the services would be under this, and if it's under the code, that would be then made available publicly. That should be made available publicly per the city code.
Of course, all our financial records and our contracts are eventually public. And what's going on is, as I described, if you were on site, you might have seen some of these meetings with these engineers talking about what they were going to be doing and what our thoughts were on that and how we might help. And as we formulated the scope of these services, we've had phone conversations, we've had video conferences. The written scope of services on it is probably going to, well, I can't give you a time when it's going to be reduced to writing, but we will reduce it to writing.
Good.
But we have the scope of services and that's why you have a professional staff with training and experience and certifications and licenses.
Because it does say a full written account with requisitions, so I'm hoping we will get those for all the services that were provided under the emergency operations.
I told you today that we're putting a packet together for you.
Good, okay, thank you. So these are related, and I've asked them, and I'd like to see them public rather than just come in and be able to view them. But I will come in and view them if that's what it takes.
There are financial records. They will be publicly available.
Thank you.
Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, and if I am off topic, please tell me, Alderman Dunn. The nature of dealing with a disaster emergency situation is a little bit different, I would imagine, in terms of contracting, Attorney Warner. Typically, if we were building a road, which was planned, this would be handled differently, correct?
Correct. Emergencies cause very fluid situations, and decisions have to be made based on what's happening in the field.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 7 is a resolution approving the payment to the Waste Commission of Scott County of Davenport, Iowa for tipping fees in the amount not to exceed $500,000. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? I do. Please step forward.
My name is David Ezra Sidron. I've been a resident of the 3rd Ward for over 30 years. Transparency. Why are we going to give the Waste Commission of Scott County $500,000 for tipping fees? I know, you know. In connection to the 324 North Main Street partial building collapse, the city is required to pay landfill tipping fees associated with the threat structure removal process. That's $500,000 for a tipping fee for 324 Main Street. That's why we have to come up with another $500,000 on top of the $3 million they came up with last week. The tragedy at 324 Main Street was entirely preventable, entirely preventable. It was a human tragedy, and it was caused by humans.
Sir, could you stick to the item that's on the agenda, please? We're talking about the disposal, not.
I'm just talking about the disposal of the tragedy,
Can he get his time back, please?
right?
Audience, please do not make comment. This is Mr. Ezra's time.
I'm sorry, am I being
Proceed.
libelous now? I wanted to talk about leadership. I wanted to talk about Harry Truman and where the buck stops. Where does the buck stop at the city of Davenport?
Point
Where
of
does
order.
it stop?
Sir, could you please stick to the topic? If you want to talk about the tipping fee.
Okay,
and the
we're spending
cost,
another $500,000 that we don't have on top of $3 million that you found last week. And next week, you're gonna find more money that has to be spent, and more money. This isn't over. This isn't gonna be swept away. You're not being transparent. You didn't say that the $500,000 was to dispose of 324 Main Street. That's all you had to say to be transparent. That's all you had to say to be a leader.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council.
Folks, please. Thank you.
Alderwoman Lee.
Thank you. I have a question on this as well that builds on Mr. Sidron. What we're voting on, and is this a ratification or is this a vote that will happen next week? An approval?
I would have to go back and look to see exactly how this breaks down as
Okay.
far as, is this past tipping fees or tipping fees, estimate of tipping fees going forward?
Okay,
I don't know which it is. The cue on the agenda is that it's a resolution approving the payment. So to me, that says that we estimate $500,000 to be conservative of upcoming tipping fees.
because the background information says the portion of the purchase occurring under the city's emergency purchase provisions and approves additional expenses moving forward. So it's not just the 500,000. This apparent approval vote for next week is going to include future tipping fees as well. Is that correct?
Again, as I read this, and it's nice that you share the background, as I read it, it's that we're estimating conservatively, because we don't want to come back, we don't want to be wrong about the number, that we have $500,000 of tipping fees in front of us.
I just want to make sure that I also understand what I'm voting on. And it does say additional expenses moving forward, and I've never seen that as an approval, as a blank check. And could you please explain, just because I don't know, what's the operating account that's listed on the background? Is that something in our budget, a line budget, or?
Well, it would be in our budget. Yes.
Okay, I just don't recognize the numbering or anything, so I don't know where it's coming from.
We can send you something in writing to explain exactly what that is.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, this item will move on. Alderman Kelly, would you set the agenda for us, please?
I move that items 1 through 5 be put on consent, and 6 and 7 be put on discussion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. That concludes Public Works, and back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Dunn and Alderman Kelly. Next area is Finance. Alderman Condon and Alderman Cornett will discuss. Alderman Condon, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. This evening, we have 4 items on finance. Item number 1, resolution establishing the date and times of the annual Halloween parade and trick or treating as Sunday, October 29th, 2023 at 2 p.m. and Tuesday, October 31st, 2023 from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. respectively. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? Anyone from the council? Item number 1 will move on. Item number 2 is motion awarding a 5-year contract for the Parks and Recreation Management Software to RecDesk LLC of Middletown, Connecticut in the amount of $87,500. Anyone from the public wishing to address item number 2? Council? I'll move on. Item number 3, a motion authorizing payment to Visit Quad Cities for fiscal year 2024 tourism and marketing services in the amount not to exceed $375,000. Anyone from the public wishing to address item number 3? Council? Alderwoman Dickman?
I just wanted to, I guess, make a note that we did make this a formal contract process however many years ago, so that we're not just giving them money and saying, I hope this works.
So Alderwoman Dickman, good question. This is the standing amount that's in your budget. The big 7, so the 2 counties and the 5 cities are working on a formal agreement amongst ourselves. The chamber is the one that we already have in place, and I've gone through a second cycle. We are actively working on doing the same for Visit Quad Cities in the region.
See no one else. Item number 3 will move on as well. And item number 4 is a motion authorizing payment to Bi-State Regional Commission for fiscal year 2024 membership dues in the amount of $57,983. Anyone from the public that would like to address item number 4? Council? Seeing no one, item number 4 will move on as well. Below on your agenda are our purchases from $10,000 to $50,000. They aren't read out individually, but they're listed there for your knowledge. Alderman Cornett, would you please set our finance agenda?
Yes, I'd move that all items be placed on the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That concludes finance, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Cornett and Alderman Condon. Next area is other ordinances, resolutions, motions. There are none for tonight. The next area is public business. Please remember what I asked you to consider. As you speak, you'll have 3 minutes. Reminder, name, order, address. If you're not from here, love to know where you're from. Please, criticism is fine, defamatory is not. Do not use names, do not make personal attacks. First person, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dale Gilmore, and I live in the 6th Ward. I'm honored to have 3 minutes to address you tonight. If any of you have ever taken a debate class, maybe in high school or college, one of the things the instructor will teach you is that when your opponent starts calling you names, they've lost the argument. They don't have the facts to support their position. So they begin personal attacks by resorting to name calling, you know, like calling you stupid or an idiot or a murderer. They've lost all credibility and respect they may have had. John F. Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." As a lifelong resident of Davenport, every resident should ask themselves the same question about their city. I have some questions for the people here tonight. I will not turn around, but instead ask for a show of hands. How many of you regularly attend a ward meeting? I don't get to as many as I would like to, but if you question 7 of our 8 elected ward representatives here tonight, if I had attended 1 or more of their ward meetings in the past year, 7 of them would raise their hand. Go to your ward meeting, introduce yourself to your ward representative, and get to know them. Why attend a ward meeting when you can just to find out the facts? It's easier just to come to city council meeting and complain. How many of you have ever volunteered for extreme cleanup? You know, where you put on your boots and your old clothes, you walk designated areas to pick up trash and who knows what, to help keep the city clean. Oh, why not? You could get up off your posterior, and I didn't want to say what I wanted to say.
Mr. Gilmer.
And help. It's just easier to come to a city council meeting and complain. How many of you have ever volunteered to serve on a city board or commission? The city's always looking for volunteers to serve. You don't get paid anything, and it can be a lot of work, but you do learn where your money is spent. It's just easier to come to a city council meeting and complain. And speaking of money, why does the city spend money on the things they do? Where does the money go? Where does the money come from when unexpected expenses occur? All these are decided at budget workshop held for 3 Saturday mornings in January. All of these meetings are open to the public. How many of you regularly attend these meetings? Oh, it's just easier to come to a city council meeting and complain. Many have said they're going to run for elected office. Please do. when you are collecting signatures for your nomination papers, if it's for a citywide office, I will gladly sign your papers. Just ask me. I believe anyone who is legally qualified to run for a specific elective office should be allowed to run. It takes a lot of work and it's not an easy job. It's a lot easier to just come to a city council meeting and complain. To all the elected officials, all public safety personnel, all department heads and all city staff, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for your service. You're all doing a job that either I wouldn't want to do or I'm not qualified to do. See, I did that in 3 minutes and I didn't whine once.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jessica Knowles, Second Ward. First off, we would love to heal, but we cannot heal without accountability, transparency, and justice, for one. Two, I would love to get to know my alderman, but my alderman just showed up for the, missing Third Ward meeting.
Ma'am, please
Hey, I didn't say who she was. It wasn't personal.
direct your comments to the council, please. Thank you.
There are several of us that are out here in the community, not just for this purpose, for this reason. Some of us are out here all year round. We don't come to complain. We're coming to get answers. There's completely two different things. We're waiting. We're here. We're showing up, hoping that you guys give us answers, not to complain to you guys. And that is all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Katie Stewart from Ward 8. We're here. We've been here from day one, and we'll continue to be here. Like it's already been stated, we're not complaining. We want answers. We lost life. We lost friends and family. I think the world's watching. The world already can tell who has hands into this, and the public can be silenced. We can be, limited to 3 minutes when we should have a right to speak for 5 minutes. They see it, and us as a community can put the information out ourselves. We don't need it to be by the city. We can do it ourselves because we are the city. Also, in regards to the building that collapsed, it was preventable. Just recently on 2/27/203, a notice to evacuate the building. And that's facts, it's right here. So why was it not? They weren't evacuated. We are at a little over a month from this incident. There's not been no accountability. Wold still walks the streets or wherever he's at. The inspectors, anybody that has hands in this, are still walking. I don't know how anyone can sleep at night knowing that we've gone a month where we've lost 3 lives and maybe some unknown, and so many people displaced. There's a woman that still hasn't got the city money and has applied. So who can I speak to in regards to that? I'm trying to help her. She tried the city and the state and is still yet to receive anything. And the smirking is just so wonderful to be back. So disrespectful.
No, it's disrespectful when you talk about people's family that died.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's
please
disrespectful.
stop talking and allow the person that's up at the podium to speak. You have a little more time, ma'am.
It's just family. These are people. And the lack of empathy, but the city sees not the city, the community sees who actually cares and who is trying to speak for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, anyone else?
Hello, my name's Malik Salisbury, 4th Ward. I guess I should come to expect to be disappointed by City Council. The recent choice to change your rules around no longer recording and live streaming the public portion of City Council is beyond disappointing. It's disgusting, frankly. It's a blatant attempt to limit our voices. And then all of this is now paired with a newly unveiled threat of using collective punishment to outright end public comment if there are libelous and defamatory statements without clearly stating what they are. In simple terms, that's just bullying. You could tell us what those statements are. We could avoid those statements, but instead it was some rushed process to take away the, not only 2 extra minutes on everyone's time to speak, but also allowing the public at large to view this meeting if they're not allowed or not able to attend. The Times has already told that that this could expose the city of Davenport to lawsuits, but you have to make it loud and clear about what those statements are. Otherwise, you're being complicit with these same people that continue to hollow out our community over and over again. The city and its continued streak of failures regarding the collapse, its complicity with those who continue to hollow out our communities, and its refusal to even address or acknowledge citizen concerns and criticisms, and paired with the blatant actions to limit and silence public voices, are not the root, but symptoms simply of something that James Baldwin called the enduring sickness of the American soul. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Diane Salmon, 8th Ward. Proverbs 31:8-9 says, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor." I've had to rewrite this a few times because I needed to make sure it was done correctly. I'm a Christ follower and I'm accountable to God for every word I speak. And because I am angry and passionate about the injustices that are going on, it can be really easy for me to slip into an angry mode and lose focus of why we are here, why we are all supposed to be here. We as the citizens of Davenport feel ignored, lied to, and dismissed. We have asked many questions, but we have not received any straightforward answers. We are now learning new information from an inspector that is very scary and very damaging. Things that should never have happened, things that led to the deaths of Brandon, Daniel, and Ryan. We show up here to lend our voices in their place because you refused to give yours on their behalf. Did you know that while their families were preparing to have their first 4th of July without them, that the man who caused all of this was calling various pool companies trying to get his pool serviced? Are we really expected to sit back and not care about everything as people try to bury it or sweep it under the rug? This is not a game to us. We don't take this lightly. Our hearts are breaking for these families, and yours should be too. Sue Fitzmaurice once said, "I'm not interested in whether you've stood with the great. I'm interested in whether you've sat with the broken." If you've not done that, you should try it. You will see the humanity and the brokenness, and maybe, just maybe, you will finally give these innocent people the recognition and hands up that they rightly deserve. We're not asking for much. We're asking for them to get the help that they need. Judas, I thank you that you show up every week. You put up with the
And
disrespect
please just
from
address
these.
the council.
You put up with the disrespect from these people, and we greatly appreciate you, and we need more people like you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Michael Ross, 2nd Ward. I'm going to read something. ACLU, know your rights, protesters' rights. The First Amendment protects your right to assemble and express your views through protest. However, police and other government officials are allowed to place certain narrow restrictions on the exercise of speech rights. We were asked by 2 police after a city council meeting to disband out front. I also would like to, maybe corporate counsel, Davenport.
Sir, please address to the council as a body.
That's where I'm going,
Right,
sir.
we're not a corporate council. So.
Okay, Davenport, Iowa PD, they return base herd outside. Sky is Hearing impaired, 3 officers. No search warrant. Threw them on the ground. This was March 10th of 2023. I think it should be something that body camera footage should be released to the public. You're not to allow any cop or whatever to go in without a search warrant into a house. All over Loud Base, this ain't the first incident. About 5 months before that, there was another from the same gentleman, caught a cop sleeping in his car. We're watching. No justice, no peace.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Julie Woods. I am a resident of the 8th Ward of Davenport. I am here tonight not expecting answers, but hoping for compassion and change. In the summer of 2021, the tenants of the Crestwood Apartments were forced to evacuate. Per report from WQAD on August 18th, 2021, it was stated that, and I quote, "The complex is being condemned after failing code inspections more than once." In this same article, a volunteer from a local nonprofit stated, "You could smell the mold all the way through the building. The insulation had mold on it. They would just close it up and then paint over the ceilings." And another article from KWQC on July 16th, 2021, a tenant reported they had feces overflowing from their toilet for days before management was able to make repairs. Other statements included Crestwood being uninhabitable due to lack of water, caved-in walls, and mold in some apartments. With this being said, I am going to what if. What if the inspection department was investigated in 2021? What if new protocols were in place in 2021? What if the inspections department was micromanaged and did spot audits? There are so many more what ifs that could come into question, but I can give you guaranteed statements to all of these questions. There would be no question as to where funds would come from to assist survivors of the collapse of the Davenport. The Transitional Housing Fund would not be depleted of $600,000 that could be used for creating more safe, affordable housing for our citizens. The loss of 3 lives, injuries sustained, the loss of personal, irreplaceable possessions at 324 Main Street never would have happened. I will let you all think on that for just a moment. I will now address the elephant in the room. What is the city of Davenport doing about the demand letter Mr. Jonathan Ewell served the city? When will we see what is demanded? When will the new protocols be in place? And when will these new protocols be available for the public to actually see so the city can be transparent and accountable like the citizens are requesting? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Michael Sloan. I'm in Ward 3. I first just want to talk to council tonight about the freedom of speech that was brought up tonight. I think it's very important that we continue to allow people to have freedom of speech. I think when we silence people, things kind of are not heard, like when someone makes a warning, this is a dangerous area and stuff like that. If somebody came here and had reported to you guys, hey, there's an unsafe school. These things are really crucial. So I think silencing people is probably not the thing that we need to do. I think going on to the future, we should probably have more opening ears for that. And that's how I feel about that. Also seeing, hearing the council had talked about that they've got new engineers that are trained, more specialized in buildings. I feel that that is a good move towards the future. Having an understanding of how buildings are built is crucial for our neighborhood to prevent things like this happening. But there's also other issues going on right now that's not being addressed. Places being closed, more families getting torn out of their house. I'm literally the only income from my family. Is our apartment next? Are we the ones that's gonna be kicked out of our house? I don't have the money to move. You know, I get everybody here is frustrated. You know, I earn at my job, I deal with people every night, make sure they're safe. Just like you need to, and the council needs to. This is important. I get that we're frustrated, you're frustrated. I get it. But at the same time, until we realize what is truly going on here and we start tackling things, this has not just happened in 1 year. This town has been falling apart for years. This is laziness. This is not just something that's happened overnight. This is people turning a blind eye. Bricks falling down for over a year, not just on one building, but many of them. Look at the comments that people have made on the video of just the neighboring buildings. Who would want to live in that town? This is horrible. Just hearing the people comment about Davenport in general. Now, I love Davenport. I see its potential. I'm hoping that our leaders will start doing the same thing. These are people's lives, families. It's getting uprooted right now. You know, we're in here talking about numbers and people in that. We're all the same here. And until we come together and start working this out, nothing's going to get fixed. This is why everybody's so frustrated. You're frustrated, and we're frustrated. So that's what I got tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Lakaya Dixon. I'm from the 5th Ward. I know all of you know we're not up here for our good health, because otherwise our blood pressure and everything is sky high. What I heard here today, there's some of y'all that aren't even on the same page, and y'all wonder why we ain't on the same page out here. You guys have to take accountability why we are the way that we are, because y'all the way y'all are. We see the separation, whether or not y'all believe it or not, we see it. Then the threat. I feel like it's a threat because we don't mean this out of just malice or nothing like that. We're here because we care. Many of us could still hear that fire alarm going off days and weeks at a time after that building fell. Because we're out there for hours. We go home and we hear that in our sleep. Ding, ding, ding. And we're not even down here anymore. My cousin died in that building. And then the autopsy say he may have lived for how many days? He heard us screaming. Could you imagine underneath that rubble, possibly alive, you hear people saying, screaming for you, where are you? Somebody come help him. And he died. He's gone. 3 of them are gone. Three lives are gone. This paper, I went digging because there's 10 pages of papers that you can read. You guys, the city was saying that whatever brick you're trying to put up, it doesn't fall into code. What does the code matter? What is people's lives in that building? What does the brick matter? So you have a city that had people with their heart broken. We're worried about safety. Not even just for the people that was over there, but everywhere. Like they said, there's people out of place everywhere. So you have people who's concerned. Is this the right place to come and complain about it? Maybe not, but this is the only place we knew where to come. I've been to city council meetings. I've asked questions, but we're all learning. But it was up to you guys to give us some kind of way to go on this, but none of y'all came out there to talk with us. But 2 of you, and then you expect us not to come here, the only place we know where to come and voice our opinion, and y'all take it as a threat and want to paint us as the bad picture? We're not the bad picture, you all are. We're going off the example that ignored and killed 3 people, if not more. I'm done.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ron Swinder, Davenport, Rock Island. It's been very heated. But what scared me the most, what was said earlier, if someone ahead of me says anything wrong, then my right to speak before this council, I won't be allowed. That's what was stated. That's a little troubling to me. We have a lot of healing. We have a lot of hurt in this audience and in this city. Every time we lose a citizen, alcohol, gun violence, building collapse, it doesn't matter. They're our community. Was there things that could have been different? We're asking. Should have things been different? We're asking. But 3 lives were lost. And that's a stain and something that's permanently etched in Davenport. We can't change that. None of us can. My son was killed a few years ago. He's etched in Davenport. Gun violence, it's etched in Davenport. We as a community are asking, we're begging, we're pleading. I would get down on my knees if I could right now, but I can't. We want better. We want us as a united community, not torn apart like it is here right now. I don't like it. I don't think any of you do either. But we as a community need to step up. Whether it's private, public, it doesn't matter. And I would really appreciate if we got our 5 minutes back. Transmit or not, I think it's time we get that back. If you're not going to transmit it, give us our 5 minutes back so we can speak before this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Council members, Bill Handel, Nashville, Tennessee, also 4th Ward in Davenport. I was going to talk about the riverfront tonight, but I guess I'll send you all some emails about what I was going to talk about. Based on what was said earlier, I really would like to talk about 2 programs that the city has been, over the years, worked on, one of which was mentioned tonight, which was the urban homesteading program, which I think overall is a good program. The city rehabs derelict or underused single-family houses in the city and sells them back to qualified buyers. From what I've seen, they've done a really nice job on them. They're really fully renovated, but I think perhaps there could be something that could be tweaked to be a little more effective. I mean, from what I can see, the city spends upwards of $300,000 per house after they buy the house to renovate these houses. And I think there are federal funds, so it's not really all the cities kicking in, but then they're selling the house for a good price, maybe $95,000 or something like that. Well, the city can't really do that many houses like that, even though over a period of 20 years they will. So I'd like to see if perhaps that could be somewhat tweaked so there'd be more houses that could be renovated, perhaps at a less of a cost per house, if you could limit it to 100 or 150,000 and have more of them. And the other one is something that I talked to the council about a couple of years ago, 4 years ago, I think, when the 2nd Street apartment building was being proposed, and it was called, it's now done, it's called workforce housing. And I mean, I've seen online some of those workforce housing apartments are $1,300, $1,400 a month. And I think those are truly workforce housing because I think workforce housing is more like what you saw in the Hotel Davenport, $500, $550, $600 a month. So I think that program was sort of a, may I say, scam. I mean, there were monies that the state gave, and there were monies the city gave. That particular site, the city paid $1 million for that site because it was right in front of our very valuable river center. And by now it'd be a $2 million site. They sold it for $250,000, which is maybe all it was worth for an apartment. But I guess what I'd like to, but there was nothing as far as making those apartments more available to somebody that actually is a working person in Davenport. So if that could be done, I think that'd be a good thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Adriana McBride, Fifth Ward. Since I was about 18 years of age, I've joined city boards and commissions, nonprofits, met with former mayors and past and present council members, even hosted my own extreme cleanups to unite the public and private sectors when my environmental concerns were not met after all of that. Yet now to see public dollars being used to cover up or clean up this catastrophe that we've had ourselves. And then the city kind of wants to attract young professionals to live here, and seeing things like that happen, being met with so much resistance to kind of do the right thing, and, you know, from even a grassroots level, and then to see this situation where this millionaire who owned all of these different properties, who very well, you know, he just, whatever. But anyway, instead of having this private individual pay for the results of their negligence, now that's all coming from taxpayer dollars. That doesn't really attract any more young professionals to want to come and live here and pay taxes here. So it's very much of a tough sell. And then when you have so many properties like that, you know, the city has now put Wolds, what was that in the paper, you know, about putting a lot of his properties at the front of the line for inspections. And, you know, so it's like there's a lot of people that are being impacted by this kind of slumlord culture that we have ourselves. And it's just not really, like, if you want people to live here and then these are the places that we have to live, there's not a good sell. That's not a good way to keep young professionals around here. And then it was mentioned that there's Structural Engineering Council. I'm just kind of curious, like, if they've been involved since the beginning. I'm curious on what their advice was, considering people were trapped under rubble for a week, and were they advising for the demolition of the building to happen while people were still inside or trapped under the rubble? What was that council, and why was it fast-tracked, and why were the lawyers, structural engineers, not able to come in and analyze, investigate the structural integrity of the building? It just seemed like it was very fast-tracked into covering it up, cleaning it up, whatever you want to call it. And now we've got like piles of asphalt or whatever the heck is in that rubble now. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like a little bit too late now. This is like, I don't think they wanted you guys to leave piles of rubble. They wanted to investigate the structural integrity of what was remaining with the building. So it's just like more of a joke to see that still out there. It's like, that's not what the intention was. What are we gonna find here? It's just very embarrassing.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I live in the third ward. My name is Christina Russell. I'm here because it's real easy for other people to say.
I apologize, ma'am. I just didn't hear that.
Christina Russell. I live in the third ward.
Thank you.
Okay. It's real easy for other spectators and other people in the crowd to say, oh, well, you guys can come up here and complain, but that's not your family members. And you don't even have the audacity or the guts to even just say, well, I'm sorry for your loss, for the people that was, or to have even empathy for the people that were in the building, not just the people that lost limbs or lost all their possessions or moved into a place and literally came home the same day to nothing. It's real easy for people to say, oh yeah, all this other extra stuff, but what is the city going to do in regards to the land that's there? I know you guys said in last week's meeting that you guys are gonna do it's in the city's possession because of demolition. What is the further steps after that's cleared up? I mean, there's still answers and stuff that we're wanting to know. And just like you guys said to Mrs. The the 8th ward, what are you guys gonna give her a packet to say, well, what's the further steps to budgets and all that other stuff? I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, you guys are talking about recreational stuff and parks and everything else, but you guys aren't even really saying anything about, oh, what about these houses that are being shut down every day? Because every day, literally, there's businesses that are shutting down, jewelry stores, garages, apartments, and everything else. What's gonna happen after that? Because that's not the end of everything, because people still have to be replaced, rehoused, and everything else like that. So to the conclusion of my comment, what's going to further happen as us coming together as a unit, as a community, as city council, as a city of Davenport, what happens next? Because as of right now, I mean, everybody see what's going on. I mean, eye contact and people just saying whatever they want to say. What happens next? You guys want to talk about healing? Let's talk about healing. I mean, are you guys going to put services in place for the people that got PTSD, that had to go through the trauma? I mean, what's next? I mean, let's be transparent. What happens next? I don't know that if you guys don't have the answers, you guys probably want to put it at the next meeting, the little pamphlet you guys serve up every week for answers. I mean, I'm being real. Like, come on now. If that's transparency that we're asking for, I mean, what's the next steps? I mean, do anybody know what's the next steps? I mean, because I just keep hearing dollar amounts. I don't care about a dollar at this point when it's people's lives at stake. Like I said last time, y'all ain't missing no meals, but what about these people?
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anything else, Ms. Spiegel? Is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? We're adjourned. Have a good weekend.